welcome to Travel Bits. I am your host, Bonnie Cordemanch of Bonnie's Travel, a home-based travel agency here in Seekonk. I would like to introduce you to my guests, Adam and Krystal. They're back for the second segment of our series, three-part series, on their 14-day cruise to China, Japan, and South Korea. Our first show was about the long-haul flights that they took, and so this show we're going to concentrate on the cruise portion of their vacation. Now they went on a 4-day cruise leaving out of Port of Shanghai.
Yes.
On the Celebrity Millennium, and I think my first question is, besides your passport, what other documentation did you need for your cruise?
So the only extra thing that we needed was a Chinese visa, and that was, I mean, technically, I know when you're going through the airport, they give you like X amount of hours where you don't need one, but because we were eventually going to be actually entering Shanghai, and then later on the cruise, you know, there's a stop in Beijing, we did have to get a visa. As American citizens, we get 10-year multiple entry visas.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say it's like $140, but
About
or something like that. But when you do it, you have to show up and like go to the embassy. And for her, it wasn't that difficult because she lives in New Jersey, and the embassy that we had to go to was New York. But I had to go to New York
Because you live in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And apparently, I think the Boston embassy doesn't do visas.
Okay,
So
that's good to know.
that is something. There were agencies that like will do it for you, but
Okay, great. So now on this, I was looking at the itinerary for this 14-day cruise, and there were only 4 at-sea days. The rest of them were all in port.
Mm-hmm.
So for this cruise, I just wanted to find out the main purpose of the cruise.
the reason we actually chose this cruise, I actually had picked it because I had always wanted to go to Asia. I'm actually half Korean.
Okay.
So for me, when I was looking for cruises, I was actually specifically looking for cruises with stops in Korea. In this particular cruise, there were 2 stops in Korea, one in Seoul and then one on Jeju Island. So that, for me, sold it. And then I think one day I literally called her and I was like, I just booked a 14-day cruise. Do you want to come with me?
Come with, yeah.
I was like, send me the date, send me the number, and I'll tell you on Friday, yes or no. And of course, I obviously said yes. So.
Okay, so what? So you left out of the Port of Shanghai. Just tell me. I know we don't have pictures, but what type of cabin did you have? Did you have an inside cabin, one with a window, a porthole, or?
We did have one outside of the ship. We did have a porthole.
Porthole.
Yeah. Honestly, when it came down to pricing, and it was only like $50 more. So for like the entirety of the trip to get a room with a porthole, and I was like, I would like to look at the ocean every once in a while.
And sometimes that natural light too makes a huge amount of difference.
Yes.
Yeah, especially when, and I know for the first couple of days that we were there, trying to get into the rhythm, the natural light helped a lot. Of like when the sun came through, we're like, oh,
Time to wake up.
guess it's time to wake up. So.
Okay, so here's a picture of your ship. So did you find it? I know, Krystal, you had mentioned you'd been on a couple Royal Caribbean ships. How did this ship compare to that size-wise? Do you find it similar, larger, smaller?
So the cruise that we were on was actually smaller.
Smaller.
So the ship was smaller. I didn't realize it was going to be smaller. I also didn't realize, due to being a smaller ship, that I would have so much seasickness. Because when I went on Royal Caribbean, since it was a bigger ship, I didn't have any seasickness. So that was a big experience to go through as well.
So you didn't prepare for seasickness because you hadn't been seasick before?
So I brought the dopamine, I brought the sea bands. I knew I had to have green apples just because I said, well, you never know. These are open waters. It's a different experience. I just didn't expect it to be as bad. And when I spoke to somebody else that had been on the cruise, they had stated it's because it's a smaller ship that you feel more. Also, where our room was located was towards the front of the ship on the bottom area. And that's just hitting every single wave. You feel everything. So even when it was like, oh, I don't feel good, let me go down to my room, it wasn't always the best solution.
Oh.
For
yeah,
me.
that kind of stinks.
Yeah.
I know. I've been on a total of 3 cruises, and the last 2 cruises I went on, I got the patch.
Yes.
Just because I have not been seasick and don't wish to be. So
I don't wish it on
think
anybody.
Preventative.
Yes.
So you would recommend maybe the patches, or just you think it's cabin location?
So I think it has a lot to do with cabin location, the size of the boat, and also being prepared. If I hadn't brought any of the above, I mean, the ship offers it, and I did grab it from the front desk one time because I was just like, I'm not going to make it to the room. The dopamine helped, and I wore the sea bands all the time. And there's other people that are in the same boat as you, literally, that are suffering from seasickness every so often. There were some days where it was a good sea day and I felt great, and some days where that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good information. So let's start going through your pictures, and you can we'll talk about the cruise that way. Your life on ship. So here's the first picture. Now, was this?
Oh yeah. So
is this?
This, so when we flew into Shanghai, we actually didn't have time to explore Shanghai because we ended up flying in the day of. So we literally had to book it straight to the ship. I had the bright idea of utilizing public transportation to get us there.
With all of our luggage.
With all of our luggage.
So that was actually just one of the many stops that we had to make to get there. I think from the airport, we took 2 trains and a taxi to get to the port where we had to embark.
To get to the port, huh?
To get to port.
I wouldn't recommend that for anybody that wants to do it.
I mean, there is there's a little funny, little anecdote that went along with that is that particular train station, in order to get to the platform, you had to climb 4 flights of stairs. And so you can imagine with personal item carry-on and checked bag.
Oh, so no elevator, escalator.
No
it was
elevator,
stairs.
no escalator.
That was fun, huh?
So that was super fun. And we apparently looked so pathetic that 2 complete strangers who didn't even know each other literally walked up right behind us, grabbed a bag each, and helped us all the way up.
Well, at first I was like, well, take it, because I can't carry this. At this point, just take the bag. I don't care anymore. I can't carry it another 2 flights. And then he left it on top. I was like, thanks so much, stranger. I appreciate you. And that was our first experience of Shanghai.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we had a great
Great.
first experience.
So, of course, the bar. Is this a robot bar?
No. So the people, I don't remember his name that was at the bar, but he was from the Philippines. And this was one of their martini samplers that they had. So if you see on top, they have a bunch of martinis and you could try them out. Also the bar, if you can see, it has frost on it, so it's cooled. So if you put your drink down, it stays cold. It won't melt, anything like that. So I was one night or day, it looks like, we were lost at this point. I wanted to try it out because this bar was really popular. Everybody would come here during the day, at night. So I'm like, let's try and see what. Oh, it was a flight, martini flights. So we tried out the martini flights, and I did, and it was so much fun. We met people at the bar, we talked, and it was just a good experience overall. It was great to break up the time.
Now, on your cruise, did you have a beverage package included in your cruise, or was it pay as you go?
So we could have. I think when I booked the cruise, we got 2 free perks, and we chose Wi-Fi, and we needed Wi-Fi. And I don't remember what the other perk was.
Dining?
It might have been dining.
Okay.
Oh, gratuities. You're right. It was gratuities.
Okay.
So we didn't have to pay any gratuities the entire trip. So we forewent the drink package. So it was pay as you go. But honestly, I don't even think it was that unreasonably priced.
Okay.
That, I mean, we weren't going to drink super heavy on the ship anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe the flight was, I think the flight was only like $35, but it was 6 different
martinis.
Oh, okay.
6 different martinis.
So this is
dinner.
So that's dinner.
those looks like desserts.
Those are desserts. So
Did
this
you have
is
desserts
after
for
dinner. This is after dinner. Adam loved his desserts.
That's something I would do right there.
This is halfway through the trip when Krystal lovingly told me that, because I couldn't decide on which dessert, because I said, oh, they all look great tonight. And she was like, we'll order one of each. And I was like, oh, you can do that.
Yes, on a cruise you can.
I had no idea. So I had been restricting myself the entire cruise
His life was
until halfway
changed
through.
after
And
that.
then that night I was like, I'll take one of each. It's just
On a cruise you can order multiple entrees
Yes.
and desserts and
this was my first cruise. So like for
I
me
didn't
it was
realize
like
that. Okay.
that's why I was like it was interesting to have.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. There's some more dinner.
Happy Adam. Getting ready to eat a happy meal.
Yes.
Yeah, no, honestly, dinner times were great. Like, I mean, we didn't do any like extra of like the extra restaurants. We did eat in like the main like dining room every night. But the options were pretty good actually.
Okay.
The food was amazing. The service was amazing. We were actually next to a giant porthole, I guess you would say. So we got to see the ocean. And if it was,
I think there's a picture of
there should be
of
Seoul
you.
or something, right? When we left
I
port,
think so, yeah.
So it was really a great experience overall. The people there made it good. You
Good.
know, it was a good time.
Great.
The food was amazing
Yeah.
overall.
Well, yeah. Everybody puts on a little bit of weight on a cruise because
Yes.
that's one of the big selling points. Oh,
Yeah.
here's the picture
There you
there.
go.
That was that's
This
the
is
Ferris wheel.
actually-
So that's Yokohama.
Yes, that's Yokohama.
So that was actually our table. We had that table the entire cruise. And I think that was just a lucky thing, but we weren't complaining. It was honestly the most beautiful thing, leaving a port and going to dinner and just being able to see the city at nighttime, all lit up. It was gorgeous. And
It
then,
was.
you know, casually eat your dinner.
Were there any language issues on ship?
Oh, that was the Halloween party.
So language issues, I guess for me, not so much. There was a lot of Spanish-speaking individuals on the ship, mostly from Spain, and I speak Spanish.
Okay.
I will say that their dialect is a little bit different than what I'm used to. So sometimes I was like, wait, what are you saying?
Yeah.
And had to be like, oh, okay, I know what you're saying. That was really it, though, for me anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know for you.
that barrier came with passengers.
Yes.
There were no barriers whatsoever with crew.
staff, yeah.
Yeah, with staff and crew.
Okay.
Those were totally fine. Although I will add, I know our waiter, since you mentioned that there were actually a lot of Spanish-speaking individuals on the cruise, our waiter spoke fluent Spanish.
Oh.
In addition to fluent English. So, which was actually like kind of a shock to me because I had just heard everyone speaking English and then suddenly he was speaking
He was from
Spanish.
the Philippines as well.
Here we
So.
go. Having fun on formal night.
Yes. I think we were 2 or 3 formal nights.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a lot.
There were a lot and, for a 2-week cruise, and they purposely all planned them out for days at sea. So we never
Yeah.
missed a single one, which was kind of nice because I had to pack a suit for that.
So the requirements for a formal night, I know you had a cocktail dress on. You had to wear a suit. Was it a suit and tie, or was it a suit, or just you had to be dressed?
You just had to be dressed up. If I'm correct, the dress code was, I think for formal nights, I think you did have to wear a jacket.
A jacket, okay.
And for me, I was like, well, if I'm gonna bring the jacket, I might as well just bring the whole suit.
Right.
So, but I will say I'd only packed the suit for formal nights, which in hindsight, like, felt like it just took up space in my bag.
Yeah.
It was extra stuff to bring on a trip when you wanted to focus on other things. So you have to think, oh my goodness, formal night as well. Taking the shoes that go with it. So I try to, like, as a girl with heels, and then with your shoes too, I wanted to pack outfits that went with the burgundy heels that I had on. So everything was in the color scheme of that eventually.
Right. Now, I know you had mentioned your leather jacket on the other show. Could you have worn that as your jacket?
No.
Or is that like a jacket for warmth and not?
No, I don't think I could have worn that.
Okay.
Not for a formal night anyway.
Okay.
The
All right.
other nights it was totally fine. I mean, they have like a very loose dress code.
Okay.
I would say it's more similarly relates to like business casual.
Okay.
For the other nights.
See, I've only been on a Norwegian cruise, and they have the freestyle where you do not have to dress.
Well, they said
So that's
because
why I
it's
asked.
such a long trip, it said for females you can do cocktail dresses. On my Royal Caribbean, you had to wear like more of a gown.
Oh,
for the
really?
shuttle.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Like
most
a
people
long
were in
dress.
gowns. I didn't see anyone in a cocktail dress when I
Okay.
did my Royal Caribbean cruise. This one was different, where I saw more cocktail dresses, some gowns, definitely some gorgeous gowns, but everybody was mixed up for the most part. I think I wore a pantsuit at one point too, just for comfort, just to be comfortable, but it was a nice pantsuit. It was dressed up semi-formal.
Okay, great. Let's see what else we have for pictures.
It was Halloween.
Yeah, so that was the Halloween party. The time that we took this cruise was from October 27th to November 10th, so Halloween did fall right in the middle of the first week. I'm a little upset because I did call the cruise line. I did call them beforehand and ask customer service if they did anything special for Halloween, and the customer service agent told me that they did not, so we did not bring a costume. However, a lot of people did, so, but it was actually like a big Halloween party that they just threw in the middle of the sea.
It was
Really?
great. It was fun.
They had the live band was playing, so it wasn't even like a DJ. It's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, you gotta wonder though. Sometimes too, it's just like do our holidays and festivities carry on to, like you said, out to Asia?
Well, that was when I called him, and I think that's what prompted you to call customer service. I was like, well, I know we celebrate Halloween,
Right.
but I don't know who else does.
Right.
So I can't say, like, let's bring something. And I think that prompted your call.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know from my cultural background, I know that it's not. They have it, but they don't necessarily. It's not like a major.
Not like
it's not a
it's-
major holiday like
right.
it is in the United States.
Right.
So it's more of like a theme,
Right.
as opposed to a holiday. So yeah, I think that was both of us were like, maybe they will,
Yeah.
maybe they won't.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, so that looks like Mount Fuji, huh?
That
Yes.
is.
Wow.
That was our one day in Shimizu. It was actually amazing because we woke up in the morning with our porthole in our room. We actually could see Mount Fuji from our room.
Nice.
Yes.
And that was what we woke up to that day. And it was hilarious coming up to the deck because everyone turned out for the deck because you could just see it so clearly.
Yeah.
It's really uncommon, the lady said, to even see Mount Fuji, and we happened to be on the warmest day that they've had.
I was just going to ask you, what was the temperatures that day?
It was in
like?
the 70s. It was so
70s?
hot. We were not prepared for something that hot. I mean, none of our clothes. We brought fall clothes because
Okay.
that's what we read was the weather. So we had long sleeves. We had more pants. To find out that I'm so happy I brought a tank top because it was so hot that day. It was ridiculous. But because it was so unseasonably warm, we were able to see the mountaintop, which they said I think happens twice a year.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't happen
So that was a
often.
bonus for you.
Yes,
And we actually
huge bonus.
Yeah, and we actually talked to one of the other girls on the ship, and she was like, "Oh, I've been here 6 times, and this is the first time I've ever seen it."
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And we were like, "Oh,
nice.
yeah, really lucky."
Yes.
I'm like, we did it.
Yeah.
So we lucked
check
out.
that off the
Yes,
bucket list.
exactly.
Wow.
That was phenomenal. We didn't. I don't think we expected that. I will never forget. The captain was like, "And you can see Mount Fuji. That you don't get this all the time. Look out your portholes. Come up to the deck. Look. Like,
Yeah.
don't just stay in your cabins." And
Wow.
everybody literally flocked to every single window that was possible to
Yeah,
get to.
it was truly, and like I said, it was just amazing because it was like you could just see it from your ship. You didn't have to leave anywhere, and it was just like it was truly beautiful. Yeah.
Great. Looking back, what do you think your favorite part of the cruise was? Like life on board. I know you did a lot of excursions off the ship, but while you were on the ship, what do you think your most favorite part of the cruise was? You did mention that you were able to catch up on some sleep in between all your excursions. I mean, yeah, because it's pretty much a hotel
Yep.
on the water.
I think definitely the first day at sea was probably our most active. The days at seas that were between ports, we definitely slept a lot.
Yeah, that was your time to
That was our time
recoup
to
and-
relax and recoup because
Yeah.
when we were on land, it was go, 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 go. I think my personal favorite part of the ship, honestly, was probably the service. The people who were actually helping you on your day to day, like our room attendant Sydney was hilarious and like would interact with us on like a daily basis. Genuinely, the service was probably some of the nicest people I've ever met.
Okay.
Mine is food motivated. My favorite, my favorite was definitely breakfast and dinner. Breakfast was a buffet, and going and just grabbing coffee and lemonade and apple juice and seeing people that you had met throughout, having conversations, talking about
nice.
our day, taking out the itinerary, seeing what are we gonna do, not doing it because we fall asleep. You know, like watching a movie but falling asleep through it. So really just setting up our day was great, and then just at the end of the night being like, oh my goodness, we can't wait to, we're gonna be somewhere new tomorrow. That was, I think, the best part. Or if we were on excursion during the day, we would talk about it, look at our photos. So I think it was talking about the experiences and also getting excited for the experiences. For breakfast and dinner, it kind of revolved around that for me anyway. So that part, those will be my favorite moments.
Great. Great. Now, you did say when we were talking earlier that you found that the median age of the guests on the ship was older.
Yes.
So you think this is because it's a celebrity cruise, or do you think it's just because of the destinations you went to? What is your opinion on that?
I think it's a combination of factors. So I think because it's a 2-week cruise, I mean, I don't know about you, it's hard to get more than a week off.
Hello, yes.
Yes.
So I know getting 2 weeks off for people our age in particular, who are trying to nose to the grind and help our career, but it's hard to get more than a week off.
Yeah.
And I think that was definitely a factor. I also don't know, it might be the part of the world that we went to. I know I've grown up in the East Coast my entire life, and typically people head to Europe. And like that's the destination that you go to. So
Yeah, we got a lot of people asking us what we were doing over there. But I think another thing, because we were going when school was in session as well, when you think about our school, like in October, I mean, that's full, everybody's fully on board with school. So really, there weren't a lot of kids on that boat. If we found anyone that was in their 20s, there were far and few in between. There weren't many of us. So I think it was a lot to do with time, destination, and cruise line. So I think it had multiple factors.
All right. So when you the last day of your cruise for disembarkment, did you dock early in the morning?
So the last 2 days of our cruise were scheduled to be Port of Yokohama. So we had already technically docked the day beforehand.
Oh, okay.
And then it was like an overnight. But
You stayed on the ship overnight. And
you
then,
stay on the ship overnight, and then you disembark early in the morning.
Okay.
I think we were group like 4, and we were still disembarking at like 8:15 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So like we had to get out early.
Very early.
So what time was your flight home? Did you go directly from disembarkment right to the airport?
Yeah.
And
so,
did you take 2 trains and a taxi, or how did you get
No,
back?
I basically put my foot down on that one, I think.
I tried.
He did try, and I was like, no, I'm never doing that again. We actually took a taxi that was about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I fell asleep through it. So.
You were awake for about an hour of it. It was a 2.5-hour taxi
I was
ride
close.
from Yokohama all the way to Tokyo Narita.
Okay.
So we decided it would probably be smart with all the... And in addition, we had to buy an extra suitcase. So
we had more luggage, and
Okay.
I think we have a picture of that too. I don't know if you guys
I'm
have
sure
it, but we had so many pieces of luggage with us that it was almost it would have been impossible for us to go through 2 trains, stairs, a taxi. Nobody would have put us in their taxi. We wouldn't have fit at that point.
No. But we did go directly to the airport. And I want to say, I think our flight left that day around like 3 p.m. So we did hang around. We did hang out in Tokyo Narita for a little bit.
Okay. So I'd like to thank Adam and Krystal for sharing their experiences of their cruise on Travel Bits. This is the end of segment 2. If you get a minute, let me know what you thought of this show. And again, if there's a fabulous vacation that you've been on and would like to share with everyone, come and talk to me about it. Please contact me through the studio here, or you can find me on Facebook under Bonnie's Travel. Until next time, safe travels.